All right, this is Kevin A. Davis with InkPub, INKDPUB.com. And with me today, we have Mike. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you on here. Um, so you're presently in anthologies that we're doing at InkPub. What are you working on? You got anything on the side? Any projects you're working on? Novels, novellas, anything like that?
I'm always kind of busy yeah, on multiple projects at once, it seems. Right now, there's three stories I'm working on right now. There's one for a cat-themed murder mystery anthology.
All
There's
right.
another one. There's another one that's a Christmas horror short story for another anthology. And the last one, you won't be surprised. It's for Inked Pub that I'm hoping to submit in a couple weeks here for the Hidden Villains Duos
Oh, nice.
anthology. So that one has a bit of a sci-fi flavor to it. So I'm excited about kind of all of them. So we'll
Good,
see what
good.
happens.
Now, do you write only short fiction, or do you do long fiction? Are you looking for long fiction as well? What's your kind of where do you like to work?
Yeah, my stories want to be novelettes at least, and then sometimes those novelettes to turn into novellas. So I have two novellas that I'm currently trying to query because I would love a something a singular credit, a book just under my own name. I've been in all kinds of anthologies and magazines, so I would love to get one of the longer works published.
Good. Yeah, I'm very much of a long form myself. Do a little
Yeah.
bit of short form. Cannot do flash for the life of me. I've watched a lot of people do that, and it's just not something, big. All right, so we've already covered what's next on your plate. I was going to ask that, but you've got us with the whole hidden
Oh,
villains duos sci-fi piece. Um, of the projects you've worked on and are working on, um, what tickles you the most? Which one gets you most excited? Is there anything
uh,
out there that you're like, that's my favorite project?
oh man, I wish it was out there. It is still in here in my laptop, unfortunately. It's one of the two novellas I've written recently. It's called 789, and it's an odd mix of um, sci-fi and murder mystery set in a Victorian era retro video game. Um, if there is a publisher zany enough to take that on, it's just such a weird ask because all of the characters are kind of 16-bit avatars that are interacting with each other. You never meet the players who are controlling them, but they have the personalities of their players. And it's an odd bit of it's a curio that I'd love to find a home for, and I'm so proud of it, of how I kind of, my love for Sherlock Holmes and Stephen King and, all kinds of different things is coming out in this thing. So, would love to find a home for it.
That sounds like fun. Now, when you say novella, what kind of count are you talking about?
For that one, it's about just over 22,000 words. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's it. That's a good size for that. All right. So I know I called, you pulled out of work for this. So outside of literary pursuits, what does Mike like to do? You got other stuff
Yeah.
you're into?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my schedule's pretty busy. I mean, I am a full-time dog dad. So my Alaskan Malamute puppy, who's even now trying to whine and get me to, share the spotlight here. He's trying to find his own 15 minutes of fame. But he is, he's the light of my world. He's wonderful. So also, it's weird that I would mention him before my wife, but I'm also married happily to my beautiful wife Elena, who is very supportive of my nerdy pursuits, whether that be reading or writing or anything else. We love going out to eat, having some nice sushi, or finding out a new bakery a new bakery in town. Love that. And then, my full-time daytime job is, working as an HR analyst at for a local government here in Ohio. And I'm also trying, because it's not enough on my plate, I'm trying to go for my master's right now in human resource management. So yeah, I write when I can and put all my resources into that whenever possible.
Wow. Yeah. And HR is a more I have a friend of ours who has been going through, and she went through accounting first and then moved to HR out of her focus. And quite a lot. People don't realize that it is a lot more rule oriented and process oriented. They just think it's someone who sits there and listens to your problems and says, no, you can't have that, or yes, we can get that for you. But it's a lot more work than I think people realize from what they
That's
say.
true.
So
It's true. It also gives you a lot of ideas for character building, let me tell you.
I imagine you see some, which is great, which is great. So where do you find your time to write? I mean, obviously, with HR, probably. Well, actually, my friend, her shift is a rather strange one. Like I think 4 to 5 days a week sometimes, with an odd like early morning, get off of the splits shifts with other people. So I can't assume that it's a nice 9 to 5 easy timing job. Where do you find your time to write? What's your process for getting it done?
Yeah, it won't happen unless I set time aside, is what I found. I'm kind of in the back of my mind, always writing, always coming up with ideas, jotting down little, bits of conversation I overhear at work, or ideas for a conflict on my drive over. But I do have to set aside time and space for it. So my laptop in my study is the sacred space. I put on my playlist that plays kind of thunder, and kind of a stormy sea for 5 hours straight. And then, I try to make time in the evenings, on the weekends. And then once a week, I meet up with another author friend and we do what we call write-ins. So we'll go to a coffee shop for 3 hours on a Saturday and we kind of hold each other accountable so it's a social time, but it's also let's focus down and do some edits, refine our draft or write something new just to make sure we're both still making progress.
Good. Yeah, that's real important. I have a Tuesday night that we submit to that ends up can be a little social. At times it's on Zoom, can be a little social because we all know each other from a certain convention and sort of where we got connected. But it really does, it's a good way to keep. I tend to make most of my time all day long writing, but um, for all of us, it keeps us sort of like focused that that's coming up, and we want to have something for that, and all that kind of spot. Um, all right, so now you do a lot of is your commute a long drive?
It's about 20 minutes,
Okay,
so some
okay.
some some good brainstorming time.
So do you read? Do you like to read a lot? And you mentioned it in your other hobbies, so I'm assuming you do. So what are you presently reading?
I'm in the middle of about 4 or 5 different books, depending on the format. So I never leave the house without an audiobook playing, in the car. So on audiobook, I'm listening to Stephen King's "You Like It Darker," the story collection. It's pretty good so far. He's quite the storyteller, and yeah, I've loved him since I was 12, and in Ukraine, I snuck a Russian translation of Pet Cemetery when I was 12. Um, should not have done that, but forbidden fruit tastes sweeter. So I've read every King book since then. Um, and let me see what else I'm reading. I just got done reading. I've been reading a few Darcy Coates books. She's an Australian horror author, kind of more haunted house type stuff. So I really enjoyed her. It's called The Haunting of Ashburn House. I really enjoyed that. And I'm currently reading through the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which has been a blast. Kind of an RPG lit sci-fi action with sprinkles of comedy. It's been addictive and hilarious and awesome. So a little bit of everything. And if I'm waiting, if I'm like at a doctor's office and I'm waiting, in the lobby, I'm probably reading something on my phone, probably one of the anthologies that, my friend or someone who was featured in, just trying to catch up.
Okay, yeah. Of that. Now, I personally Matt Dittman, I love the Jeffrey Hayes Audible. I don't know if you've heard it. Um,
No.
okay. Sound Blue Theater does the Audible on that and
Oh,
stories on that. But
wow.
really enjoy that. Anything that you um any book you'd recommend if you were gonna plug a book out there, what would it be?
I really there's so many really good ones out there, but I think um I really enjoyed this one and I never hear it talked about, so I just wanted to plug it because it was such a fun read. Hide by Kirsten White. It was such a fun book. It's a bit of a thriller, a bit of a horror element in it, but it's about a this mysterious company that puts out a call for a TV show. They want to film where a bunch of strangers get carted over to this abandoned amusement park to play hide and seek for a few days. And then it kind of takes some twists and turns that you don't necessarily expect, but I love the character work, the story. I appreciate horror that both kind of delves into personal demons and maybe figurative and also literal ones. But I really love the human element there and the little, bit of kind of hope. It's something that I like to put in my own stories is, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all, darkness and the void. There should be a little bit of light kind of to counterbalance that. So I usually try to put a little bit of humor or comedy in my stuff, and I appreciate Kirsten White's approach with, strong message, but such a great character grounded story.
Nice, nice. Well, that's a good recommendation. All
Mhm.
right. Outside of, I'm not sure, I forget where your area is, but do you go to conferences, conventions, like writing conferences or fandom conventions or geeky stuff like that?
I'm starting to. I'm starting to. So I don't know, Kevin. I might be like the greenest writer you're talking to, but I've been even though I've been writing for about 20 years, I've only been published for about 10 months. And since that first publication last November, I've actually accepted been I've had 22 of my stories be accepted in that time.
Nice.
But despite that, my resume is growing, but I'm still a newbie. I'm still trying to discover what works and really enjoying meeting fellow writers. So I've gone to a couple of book festivals here in Central Ohio, where I am. There's the Columbus Book Festival. There's the Origins Fest, which is more of a board game convention for tens of thousands of people, but they do have a nice author alley section. So I've dropped in on some friends and I've kind of made some connections. I do look forward to maybe getting a table in one of them in the next year here. And once I have enough things to my name that I feel like people might want to buy.
Well, if you get up in 22 anthologies, that's a good table um, to put out there.
Thank you.
So, next major goal, we'll wrap it up with what's your next, every no matter what we do, people are always like, what's your sign of success? And you tell them, and once you think of it and you get there, you're like, well, but I still want to do this, so there's always a next goal. What are you
Yeah.
looking at? What would you like to do next? I mean, let's exclude the fact that you'd like to get your novella published because we know that
Yes.
one's top of the list.
Yes.
Around
Please.
that one, around that one,
Yeah.
what else would there be?
So I think for me, just So I've just hit a new benchmark actually this past week where instead of just, another horror story, I've had my first nonfiction piece published, which was an autobiographic essay in Troll Breath magazine, and it's called uh, Dark Nights and Soviet Frights, how my Ukrainian childhood shaped my love of horror. And so it was a very different piece for me, kind of talking about my childhood and in Ukraine and this haunted lullaby my mom used to sing me that I loved, and but also how the unrest in the country and some of the same in my family at the time kind of shaped who I became and my tastes and my yin for storytelling. So I would love to tell different kinds of stories next, Um, even, seeing some of the heroes of the craft, like Ray Bradbury, never really stayed with one kind of story. So I would love to expand into more sci-fi, which grateful to be included in the next Inked Pub publication of Beyond anthology. So with a sci-fi story, that's a huge win for me. But I'd love, to just diversify and write, whether it's and learn how to tell different kinds of stories, whether it's fantasy, whether it's sci-fi, and explore because human stories that are engaging is what I'd love to tell. I just want to get better at it. So that's my next goal.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal. When that piece comes out from Troll, make sure if it's available to someone that people can get to, um,
Yeah.
make sure you send me that link because I'm interested myself, but I'd like to post it up on Pub as well because I think that's a story that in today's climate needs to be told.
Well,
That,
thank you. Yeah, I'll send you the link. There's a direct link to the story. So yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so it's already out. It's already out
Yep.
and done.
As of last week, yeah, it's been published. Yep.
Get it over here and we'll get it out there because I'd like to see that get out. And I've got I think some links for do I have links for you? Let me double check this. Um, all right. Yep. I've got a website and Facebook page that we'll put in the comment section or in the description for this video when we get it out there. All right. Well,
That's
thank you,
perfect.
Mike. I appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Yeah, thanks so much, Kevin. This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.